welcome back. We're going to talk about this is basically Business 101. So, really general, fundamental about what is actually information you need for starting a business or just a basic about business to get that started. So, of course, we're going to always start with the vocabulary. So, I'm going to go through the vocabularies and I'm going to share some case studies. And then after that, we'll end up with some question Q&A from you. So just to get started, so this is a list of vocabulary, but I select these. Main purpose was actually for you. So these vocabulary is actually like what I think you should know right now, you know. So that's the reason why I think this is 10 just words to get started, but it's not all about business. I would say it's like a very small fraction about what business actually means. So when you think about different business today, there's actually different models, right? You could think about it.
Yeah.
So the model that's most applied when I think about it to your business and your mom's business is kind of like just in time. So this is a concept or a business model that's actually pretty popular, and I think will be even more popular going forward. I'm going to give you a brief example. So like a traditional business, for example, could be like, say, Costco or a business that actually have a storefront, right? So you actually have to have a store. You have to hire the employees. You have to up the running cost of running all this information and inventory as well. Just-in-time model is basically the model that you're trying to really control inventory and the cost. So in a way, you really try to keep inventory as low as possible. Does that kind of make sense? So in particular, in your business, because you're making the plushie doll, you have really minimal inventory. So it's like you designed it, and then you reach out to the factory. They go ahead and manufacture the plush toys, and then they send it over to Taiwan, and then you sell it to your consumer. So in reality, there's really very little inventory that you keep on hand. One thing is when you're doing accounting and finance, inventory is actually not a good thing. Let's say you have items that you're selling, but after a while, it's just not selling anymore. Let's say 6 months, 12 months, it's not selling. So in your accounting book, that's actually a negative. So especially when you talk to let's say you're trying to get money from an investor or something, and they look at your book, that is something that's actually negative. Now, if this inventory is actually sellable, let's say you can go around, it's liquid, you can sell it to somebody at a discount, or you can sell it to somebody, then it's not necessarily a bad thing. But there are inventory that's bad where it's just not sellable. So just sitting at your warehouse you're not going to make any money from it. Then that's a bad thing to have. The second one is KPI. So remember the Excel I sent you with all the information? So in essence, that's the KPI. So it's short for key performance.
So that is a KPI.
Correct. Because when you have a business, or let's say you work for somebody, they're gonna have a goal. They're gonna say, I want to hit X amount of sales by this month or 2 months from now. So they need a number that's trackable, that's measurable. So because of the fact that you have your own business, you actually have to be put on your hat that I'm the boss. I'm going to be managing myself. So I'm going to come up with key metrics that I need to have in place to measure the performance. So that's the reason why I kind of help you out with you build out the Excel. So that way you can use that as a way to track your progress and having that KPI. So you will hear this a lot. So if you look at the business news articles, or you look at the documentaries, or you look at even, let's say you pull the financials for like a company, they will talk about this. What is the KPI? Are we going to hit the KPI? Are we going to hit the goal? What's the matrix? So that's the key point that you want to like understand what that means. So that's the second one. I'm going to want to bring it up. The next one is revenue. So, well,
Mhm.
of course, we
Revenue.
kind of briefly talk about that last session where we pulled an example of the website, like
Mhm.
the target, and we look at the sell price and the number of
Mhm.
units they sell, and then when you times that together, that's basically your revenue for the business.
Mhm.
So, however, as financial person, or let's say you're like a venture capitalist or a bank where you review financials, we don't just look at revenue. Revenue is one of the things that we look at, but we also look at, there's a lot of metrics that we
Mhm.
look at. We also look at your net profit,
Mhm.
and your expenses. But the key
Mhm.
thing, of course, people always look at is revenue. Okay.
Revenue.
So you see the next one underneath is profit. So
Profit.
profit usually means after you pay your employee, after you pay your expenses, what is your take home? Because that's important, right? Because
Mhm.
technically there are
Yeah.
businesses out there, they have a lot of revenue, but they also have a lot of expenses. And
Mhm.
so when you look at the book, their net profit could be negative.
Mm.
Okay, so that's something to think about, because a lot of people, they will say, "Oh my God, my revenue is $1 million a year," and then a lot of people say, "Oh, good job, good job," but they forgot to look at the profit. They forgot to look at the expenses, and we're like, "Okay, that's only one side. There is so many matrix you have to look at." So that's why I think you need to kind of start thinking as a business person. Look at one business, um, and kind of be able to dissect that to say whether they're actually a good profitable business or they're just a business.
Mhm.
So you really had to look at the detail. The next one I want you to think about, this is actually very important because you actually need this right now. You need a slogan for your
Mhm.
business.
Oh yeah,
You
we
know,
need something.
so like I'm gonna give you some really like important one. For example, Nike. You know Nike, right? The shoes, the
Yeah.
sports. Okay. So
Yes.
their slogan is
Just
just do it. Exactly. But everybody knows that, right? Because when you
everybody
say,
knows. Just
if
look
you
it.
say Nike, that's the thing that you come up with.
Yeah.
So you need something
Or
that's quick.
McDonald's.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give you like one example, something to think about. You know, for example, Mina, your plush toys. I actually think your toys actually is like an anti-doll. So it's not
Mhm.
everybody's plush toy because it's unique. It's one of a kind, right? So
Mhm.
nobody else out there have your own design. Nobody actually make it like that. A lot of them are kind of cookie cutter. They're
Mhm.
cute. They're like
Cute, but
adorable,
they're
but
like everywhere.
exactly. So it's kind of like what you mentioned way before. It's like you and your mom is basically the one that's it's building a brand new market. Like
Mhm.
it's not even in the category of the market, but you're creating a brand new product and in a brand new
Mhm.
market. So that's actually your niche. You're not everybody's doll. You're different. You're one of a kind. So something that's in your own word, you want to explain that and show that. And you want to do that in both language, both English and
Mhm.
Chinese.
Yeah.
Because eventually
Yes.
I actually want you to look more global. So not just the market in Asia, but you want to actually push
Mhm.
that out potentially international. So that
Yes.
is something you want to work on. Product life cycle. So if you see on the left hand side the chart that I included, this is kind of
Mhm.
like the product life cycle. So you're kind of you're in between product development and introduction. That's kind of where you are
Mhm.
right now. And you actually
Mhm.
see the chart, the line where it says sales and then profit.
Yes.
Now, this is something interesting because for your mom, she is, I would say, in a growth maturity stage. But one thing,
Mhm.
kudos to her, she's always pushing the envelope. She's always looking for ways to expand her market, the target audience, number one. She
Mhm.
always tried to expand the product line. Because right now, way back in the beginning, her it product is the cookies, for the baby showers.
Yes.
But
Yes.
since then, it has really shifted to other categories. So she has baking classes that she held. I know she also right now she's pivoting to selling more healthy bakery, which is actually going to be the hot item nowadays because everybody's focused on health. Yes. So less
Not
sugar,
everybody like
all that stuff.
vegan,
So, yes. So people are actually focused on that.
organic.
So my recommendation to you is to start looking at business in different angles. Start identifying like 7-Eleven, all the company that's close to you that you go to every day.
Yeah.
Do some research. Hey, are this company at a development stage? Are they just like right in the beginning, or they're actually a mature state where they're declining, where they need to exit the market because they're not able to make any money on it? So start thinking about this way, because basically this is actually how business works. Everything is sort of like a business. We talk about school is actually kind of business. And then all the company around you is business. And in Taiwan, the amazing fact is there's actually a lot of entrepreneurs. They basically have an idea, they want to make money, and they go for it. But the thing is, you have to have a goal in mind, right? Because you have to have a goal, you have to have a plan. If you just go out
You
and say,
can
I'm
just
just
keep digging and digging.
I know you can't just go out and like, I'm just gonna wing it, I'm just gonna do it. You might be successful, but it's kind of like winning a lottery. The chances are low. So you need to have a lot of cash flow or money to be able to take that risk. So that's actually important. Now, there are also different type of business structure. So for your case, and also your mom's as well, I would say majority of it is right now is direct to consumer. So what that means is basically you're making this product, you're bypassing any middle person, you're selling it directly to the consumer.
Yes.
Okay. So other example, there's business to business. For example, for example, Costco. So Costco, there's like two segments, right? So there's one segment where they're selling to the consumer, but there's also another segment they're actually selling directly to business clients. So in that case, they're kind of in between direct to consumer and direct to business. Okay. So, but just to know, if let's say you go to a bank, you're trying to set up accounts, they ask you what is your business, how is it structured? The answer is my business basically direct to consumer. I sell directly to consumer. So you can actually have something you can explain it to them. The other last thing I want to share is mission statement. So basically, it's like what are you trying to accomplish out of this business? What is your objective for the business? So I can tell you pretty much, I would say all the big companies have a mission statement. So when you go to their website, sometimes they just blandly say mission statement, or they will say the story of our company, something like that. So that is actually their mission statement. Because the reason I said that is some of the company, it's not very clear what they're trying to do or what their stories are. And then for consumer, like especially for me, that's actually one criteria I look at. I'm actually very picky. I don't know. I think you kind of know. I'm very picky. So I have a standard. So there is actually one of the investor or a couple investors out there. They will actually only deal with company that is, let's say, for example, environmental friendly. For example, so if this company that's not important to them, that's not something they focus. Consumer has the right to purchase with their dollar. They vote with their dollar whether or not they are going to do business with you. Okay. So if you look at the news, there are actually companies where they're doing bad, or their reputation is bad because they do something bad. The consumer actually decide with their money, purchasing power, not to do business with them anymore. Yeah. And then there are cases these companies actually went bankrupt. Yeah. So that is really important, why having your brand and protecting the brand, working hard to keep the brand up and running, the reputation is so important, because at the end of the day, the people that will give you the money, fund your business, have that revenue and profit is the customers. But if you're doing
Yes.
something shady and that's something they don't agree with anymore, they will stop giving you money.
They will stop supporting you.
Yeah, so that's the reason why it's so important, and that's the reason why I want to include that, because again, everything kind of tied together. The other thing I want to tell you is basically this is meant to be difficult. This is not meant to be easy because